God damn it. The most credible Joker, reviewer of all time, Mr. Ben Shapiro, just uploaded a Ben Shapiro's review of Superman. He has some words on Twitter to say about it, and he's gonna pull out some deep meaning and some woke ideology agenda. Little to no identity politics or any kind of politics. So let's give it a go.
Alrighty, folks. So I watched the new Superman, and I have many, many thoughts. This video is sponsored by our friends over at ExpressVPN.
Oh, there you go. Free promo for ExpressVPN. God damn it. Poor this shitty little VPN is gonna sponsor him. I'm just joking. ExpressVPN, sponsor me, please.
My wife and I always have an interesting time watching movies together because when I go, I'm very analytical about what I think of the movie. My wife sort of gets an overall gestalt, and it's mostly like, that was fun. And so my wife's review was, that was fun. And I think most people who come away from the movie will probably do the that was fun thing. And that seems to be what the people are saying. People are generally liking the movie. They think it's fun. They think it's kind of a kick. David Corenswet is charming. He has good physical presence. I didn't mind him as Superman at all. Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane was fine. I thought she was great. I thought both of them had good chemistry. I thought all of that was fine. And then there is the analysis. So my overall review of Superman is it's meh. Okay, so all the people who are getting super exercised over the politics, and we'll get to the politics a little bit later on. I think that they are overestimating how much politics is in this. I think they're deliberately misinterpreting some of the politics that are in there. This is not a movie about illegal immigration. It's not a movie about ICE, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, the Palestinians. There may be references there if you have politics on the brain, but other than that, I really don't think that there's that much of this there. That is not my overall problem with the movie.
Okay, surprisingly, he actually made some sensible points. What other politics there are that you were gonna point out that other people haven't been blabbing about it online?
Is that you are taking the most iconic American IP of all time, Superman, which is to be treated with a certain level of respect. That doesn't mean it has to be, grand mythology the way that Zack Snyder wants to do. Like, my standard for Superman is not Man of Steel. My standard for Superman movies is 1978 Richard Donner, the best version of Superman. It just is. Overall, here is my problem. James Gunn is the wrong director, writer, creator for this thing. It's Guardians of the Galaxy with Superman in it. And so that means it's all kind of a mess. It's an overstuffed movie in every way. It's visually overstuffed. In terms of plot, the plot holes are big enough to drive a truck through them. There are character problems. And all of it is just kind of wrapped around this gauzy, fast-paced, jokey tone that doesn't mesh with Superman as central part of Americana.
Bro, yeah, it is a very in-your-face, upbeat type of movie, but that's just James Gunn, and he does mention Guardians of the Galaxy, but it actually works with the Superman character too. Like, this movie is very grounded in the comic book lore too. So maybe he has got more valuable points to make.
He's reversing himself into completely the opposite direction, but what that means is that he's constantly subverting everything.
I was raised with a dog that was my sister.
You're told that Superman is the most powerful metahuman, right? There's like a placard that says 30 years ago, the metahumans arrived. 3 years ago, Superman emerged. 3 weeks ago, there was an invasion. And now 3 minutes ago, Superman's ass got kicked.
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
He's not very super. He is not the Man of Steel. He is not invulnerable. He gets his ass kicked routinely. He gets locked up in a prison with a character who's making kryptonite out of his hands.
Sorry, what?
He's constantly in victim mode. Like,
oh my god, okay. Yes, the Superman is nerfed in this one, but like the reason they nerfed Superman compared to like the Man of Steel version, the Henry Cavill version, is to make him more human-like, so when he eventually overcomes the hardship that his villains are like portraying to him, you actually feel for him, like you actually feel the sweetness and the fruits of the victory. Like, is it that hard to get? There has been multiple medias where like Superman is getting his ass beaten by a character which shouldn't be beating him, like in like shows and TV series, even in the comics. You gotta nerf your character to like eventually give him like a grand opening, like a grand victory when he actually, like, you know, beats his enemies up.
Green Lantern has much more success in this movie. Mr. Terrific has much more success in this movie than Superman.
Okay, so he basically doesn't know Mr. Terrific if he had watched even like any of the like Justice series cartoons or like TV shows.
Superman's parents from Krypton, if you're going to go through the mythology, send him to Earth so that he can be a moral guide for people on Earth using his great powers to stop evil from happening to them. In this movie, his parents from Krypton send him there. This is the big revelation of the movie. His parents send him there to dominate the life on Earth as an alien invasion, essentially, and to create a harem of Earth women to have his many babies. Well,
okay, yeah, that was a twist in the movie, but you still like they still didn't like they left like an open ended on that part. So if they want to like change it in a different movie, they can, you know, oh, it was like Lex Luthor trying to be like an evil maniac and like purposely translating it wrong, the second part of the message. But it's really not that big of a deal, and plus, you know, you appreciate Clark's like adopted parents since they portray the biological parents to be these evil masterminds that sent their son to a different planet to conquer it. So it's really not big of a deal, man.
You're taking the expectation of what you know about his Krypton parents and flipping it on its head. His parents, Ma and Pa Kent, in the original, they are noble and they are wise. They're kind of salt of the earth. Here, they're basically kind of, I don't know, like down
rednecks. They're basically rednecks, but they're like honest. In this movie, I forgot to mention this in our review, that one thing I immediately noticed during the movie, that the country accent that these characters adopted was pretty accurate, you know, like, and I actually like praised James Gunn for, like, you know, like focusing on these minor details, even though in all the comics, not the comics, you know, all the like cartoons, TV shows, and movies that I've seen, Clark's parent never had like country accent, you know.
Krypto, the super dog, is a terrible dog, is a dog that does not, like an idiot dog. Like way worse than my dog Happy. My dog Happy, way better than this dog, and my dog makes trouble. This dog is a mess. Supergirl, who you get introduced to for a hot second at the very end, Supergirl is a drunken teenage brat.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, she is. She's basically a 3 or 4. But what the fuck do you mean about Krypto? Like, he's a wholesome dog. Like Krypto. Yes, he's like very rowdy and all that, but in the actual, like, the climax of the movie, it was him who like takes down Lex Luthor, and like him taking down Lex Luthor was like the satisfaction victory for the audience.
So Green Lantern is there, and he's kind of just a schmuck, and he's there as comic relief. And then you have Mr. Terrific, who's the actual hero of the film, who you learn nothing about other than he's just kind of a noble do-gooder fellow. And you have all these superheroes who are wandering around. You never get any information about them that makes them interesting or sympathetic or even particularly cool. But you don't.
What do you mean, bro? What do you mean they're not cool? Okay, maybe for a hawk girl, like, okay, fair enough, but like, Green Lantern is a very admirable asshole, like in a good way. Like, he's very cocky and arrogant and full of himself, but he also, you know, like, has like redeemable qualities, which makes him like a good character and actually a funny comic and on the screen, you know.
Know the motivations of any of the villains, except for Lex, who it turns out is just really kind of jealous of Superman because Superman has superpowers, and Lex is like, I'm really smart, and Superman is really strong, so why do people like Superman more than they like me? Which is a pretty boring motivation, to be frank. So the characters are complete.
What the fuck do you mean? Have you not seen like multiple like Lex Luthor is a hater.
Next to Superman, even Lex Luthor's greatness is overshadowed.
Are you trying to intimidate me?
I'm trying to educate you. We all fall short of sickening, inhuman perfection. Feel that, Kent. Real muscle. Not the gift of alien biochemistry, the product of hard work. I've always liked you, Kent. You're humble, modest, comically uncoordinated, human. In short, you're everything he's not.
Clearly, this guy has not kept up with any of the lore, and he's just stuck in the 70s. He probably thinks that people still care about his political opinions, which is hate to tell you, Ben, but you don't have that same pull as you used to.
There's a scene where Clark and Lois, they've had a fight and now they're back together and they're having a talk. And it's supposed to be this very intimate talk where they're speaking with each other. And literally outside the window, Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific and Hawk Girl are fighting a gigantic sort of eye monster that looks like it's from Suicide Squad.
Oh. I thought there was something crazy going outside.
Extremely distracting because he's...
Who the fuck is editing your videos, dude? Like, I get he's trying to be hip and cool with the transition and edits. Like, get a better editor, dude, or like be more like a serious with like funny quips here and there. But they're not hitting it. I'm sorry to tell you, Ben. Like, Ben's editor, 2 out of 10.
itself makes very little sense. The plot is basically that Lex Luthor has decided that he is going to make a deal with a foreign politician who the left wants to believe is both Vladimir Putin and Benjamin Netanyahu, but actually is just kind of nothing, is going to invade another country. And Superman stops that invasion. Apparently, Lex wants to use this as an excuse to box up Superman, saying that he's running counter to American foreign policy. Now, we've seen that iteration in other movies, right? That was in Batman versus Superman. You've seen it in other versions of the Superman story, but it's not really taken kind of to its ultimate extreme politically. In any case, it turns out that what he really wants is to annex half of this separate country. He's going to split it with this other dictator. One major plot hole. Lex Luthor is obviously the smartest person in the film. So smart, he can create his own universes. This is a major plot point. And he is concerned about a relatively small piece of land occupied by third worlders. This is his big plan. And later it turns out that he said, oh, no, I started...
I mean, Ben, a lot of people can say the same thing about you, man.
that war just so that I could get people to turn against Superman. Okay, well, he does that halfway through the film, and then he jails him, and then he leaves him alive and explains this secondary plan that apparently was his primary plan, sort of, but he doesn't kill Superman at the time for a reason that remains undisclosed.
We hear that he killed 27 children, and you're always going to make mistakes, but that's how it is.
The entire plot is a complete mess. If you try to chart it, there's no way to do it because James Gunn doesn't care about plot. James Gunn doesn't care about characters. James Gunn cares about jokes and aesthetics. That's what James Gunn cares about.
Nobody cares anymore.
It's very difficult to make Clark a hero in a situation in which the plot is a complete mess. And again, that's not a rip on...
Okay, does he have any other good points? This is hard to listen to him, like, be this out of touch. He's like an out of touch uncle and like trying to be in his like old days.
John Williams, his original Superman score is one of the great scores in all of movie history. It is a phenomenal score, beginning to end. It may be John Williams' best score. I love that score so much. It is a great, great score. It is magic.
All right. And you ain't gonna copyright my 20-view video, man.
And what do? They take the original theme and they play a few notes from it because it's so iconic, and then they underscore it with nothing, with like a pedal tone. It sucks. The music is awful.
Oh my fucking God.
The score is terrible. Just play the original score. The original...
Oh, this guy, man. Why is it not like this, man? I want the movie to be from the 70s, man. Why make a whole new fucking Superman movie? Why don't you just copy paste the movie from the 70s? That's what you sound like. That's literally what you sound like.
Okay, then we get to the actual politics. So I know this is what people are waiting for. They're
Okay, all right. There you go. Fine. Let's see what you got.
waiting for my political rip on this film. So we've been told this is a movie about illegal immigration. Not really. Honestly, like you have to look to find that. There's one line where Clark is saying, aren't you going to read me my rights? James Gunn's politics is so ham-handed, like truly ham-handed, that it doesn't even read as political, it just reads as stupid. So there's a moment where Clark, he's being arrested, and he says, aren't you going to read me my rights? And one of the members of the government says, well, you're now considered an enemy alien, right? You don't have any rights because you're not an American. All right. Like, if that's supposed to be some sort of like anti-ICE.
Oh, you're just looking into way too deep, man. He's a fucking alien from a Krypton planet.
Really weak. Also, legally incredibly stupid, considering that he came to Earth as a baby and then was adopted by an American family, which would make him American.
That was meant for the babies of slaves.
What the fuck, Trump?
The suggestion that he says truth, justice, and the human way, I didn't catch that anywhere in the film. The sort of social media politics that social media is stupid and rigged by bots, which, I mean, I think everybody sort of agrees on at this point. And there's a really dumb visual joke where Alexis set up actual monkeys typing into computers as his bots. It's like, oh, God. But that's so James Gunn. Again, it's all so, I just don't like James Gunn. I mean, just to be, and again, I'm one of the people who, when James Gunn was first fired from the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise in July 2018 over bad old tweets, I actually defended him at the time. So it's not about like anything personal with James Gunn. I just don't like his movies very much. The other politics of the situation are supposedly this foreign policy thing. So the left is suggesting that the foreign policy conflict in which Superman engages is a stand-in for Israel and the Palestinians, or alternatively for Russia and Ukraine. So let me give you the geopolitical setup. The geopolitical setup here is that there is a country called Boravia, and this country called Boravia is run by essentially a corrupt dictator who's working with Lex Luthor, and it invades another sovereign country, Jarhanpur. Okay, and so Superman stops that at the very beginning. Okay, like, and doesn't show him stopping it. He talks to Lois Lane about it. Fine. Okay, the idea is geopolitically that Boravia has been a longtime ally of the United States. Jarhanpur is a country where we don't know who it's allied with. And it may or may not be run by jihadis, but we don't know. Like, we don't know who it's run by. It doesn't matter. The only reason that Clark stops it, that Superman stops it, is he says because
people were going to die.
Which, as we'll get to in sort of my final breakdown of why this movie doesn't work and why no really good Superman movie has been made since 78.
What did he say?
I'll explain in a moment. The people of Jarhanpur are brown.
Look at my African American over here.
The people of Boravia are white. Okay, so this is why the left is reading this as Israel, the Palestinians. The reason it doesn't work that way is because we are not made aware that the people of Jarhanpur are either wildly terrorism supportive, that they've participated in multiple terrorist attacks on the people of Boravia. They are led by a corrupt dictatorship that murders gay people, right? None of that's in the movie. So it doesn't match up that way. And the idea that Boravia is Israel in this iteration, like a longtime U.S. ally that's randomly invading countries for territorial gain, that does not match up to any of the facts on the ground that we know of at all. That is not real. So maybe in left-wing brain, that's how it reads. I could see if you're a left-winger and you don't know anything about the situation, or you think a bunch of false things, you could read that maybe. You could also read this as Russia-Ukraine because it's one sovereign country that's invading another sovereign country, and because the leader of Boravia has a Russian accent. I'm not going to read it that way because it's stupid and it doesn't make any sense politically. It makes no sense. Okay, so this brings me to my...
It's kind of crazy that he just associated Jahanpur, whatever the fuck, Jahanpur, with like crazy jihadi terrorists. It's like, and like doing like illegal, breaking international laws. It's just like, why these jihadis? Is it because they're brown, Ben? Is it because they're brown? So it's
about this movie and all other Superman movies. The fundamental flaw in all Superman movies of my lifetime is the thing that Hollywood cannot say and will not do.
Politics, does he still stand for truth, justice, all that stuff?
The only Superman movie that I have ever seen that uses truth, justice, and the American way is the original 1978 Superman.
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
This is not just a throwaway line. It is deeply important to the character of Superman. Why? Well, because take Superman just as a character. Superman is unbelievably powerful, unstoppable. He's faster than anyone. He has X-ray and laser vision.
That's not true. But all right.
He's stronger than anyone, right? He's basically a god on earth, and the biggest god. He's Zeus, right? He can do whatever he wants. And so, why is he the good guy? Why isn't Lex Luthor right? Because let's be real. If there were a person on Earth who actually had those powers, Americans would rightly be very much afraid of that.
The Glaze is crazy.
Correctly, as Federalist 51 suggests, you need ambition to counteract ambition. If any one person had ultimate power, what you're really talking about is a philosopher king. And that's pretty scary because that person could be a dictator, simply doing whatever they want to the world. The only reason why Superman would be a hero as opposed to a villain is because he grew up in America, because he has the American way, right? He's emblematic of what America is. May blunder, may make mistakes, but overall stands for freedom and liberty and private property.
Oh my god. Oh, since he's American, then he cannot have any dictatorial tendencies or anything. Have you not like followed up with the Injustice timeline where he's the same Clark Kent and grew up to be a tyrant, not grew up, but like later transitions into a tyrant after like Joker kills Lois Lane. He's just uneducated, man.
And free speech and all of those things.
All speech. He's complaining about politics, and then he's making it way too much political. Like, motherfucker. Superman is a worldwide character, right? Nobody nobody in the world reads the Superman comics or watches the Justice League cartoons or the Superman cartoons or any of the movies and say, "Ooh, wow, oh my god. Superman stands for justice, freedom, and like free speech. Oh my god." Nobody does that. It's just like when they read Superman, they watch Superman, it's like good guy, super powerful, does good for everybody. A guy who stands up for the little guy, you know, like who stands up for the little guy, looks out for the weak in the society, you know. It's nothing political. Nobody thinks of like free speech and anything. It's just you're making this like way too much political, and then you're complaining about it, then that the left-wing media is interpreting that way when you are over here just putting political ideology that no sane comic book fan thinks of when they consume the media.
That stuff.
Right? All the good American stuff. There's a great comic book called Superman Red Sun. It's an alternative.
Okay, so he has read some of the other comics.
And he grows up as the emblem of Soviet Russia. And he's evil because he grew up in Soviet Russia. Because if you give that power, that amount of power to an evil ideology, then evil ensues. So this is why it's really important. It's not just truth, justice, and the human way, or truth, justice, and all that good stuff. There's a specific definition of Americanism.
What is that fucking Riz sound effect?
Justice and the human way, or truth, justice, and all that good stuff. There's a specific definition of Americanism that says that this is why America, for example, should be a world power, because America is better than other countries, and people who live in accordance with Americanism make the world better if they have more power. That's why America is good, because otherwise Superman is bad and Lex Luthor is right, and we should restrict his power, and we should
and what nationality is Lex Luthor, Mr. Ben Shapiro? He's an American corporate. An American egotistical corporate man who thinks he can get away with any law he breaks just because he's powerful and rich. Sounds very American to me.
Jail him, and we should check and balance him, and we should not let him be free. The problem is that Hollywood cannot say the American way because they don't believe in the American way. They don't believe that America is unique. They don't believe in these American basic values and principles and rights. They have a hard...
Nah, bro. Fuck. Dislike that video, but dislike that. Oh well, man. That was Ben Shapiro's delusional rant about Superman, and basically complaining that everything from the 70s that the 70s movies showed, anything doesn't match that, instant trash. You cannot have any creative freedom with the character and try to like build it around your thinking, and you know, and something that audience actually like, you know. It's like no innovation. Anyways, guys, we also made a movie review way much better than Shapiro's, but way too like nothing compared to views. So make sure to check it out, and you know, subscribe.
So big, check my jig, cut this gold on my pole, walking with this swagger, with these moves like Jagger, got these chicks on the stagger as I roll with my dagger. Party started popping that champagne, jump around, going hard with my gold chain.